Chào mừng quý vị quay trở lại với chương trình Tôi về Việt Nam trên kênh FBNC với cuộc trò chuyện cùng giáo sư Martin Young đến từ Đại học Massey, New Zealand, xoay quanh chủ đề về cải thiện sự hợp tác trong hệ thống pháp luật tài chính giữa các nước thành viên ASEAN. Đây cũng là chủ đề của buổi hội thảo tại Viện Đào tạo Quốc tế Thành phố Hồ Chí Minh những ngày vừa qua, và giáo sư Martin Young cũng đã chia sẻ với kênh FBNC xoay quanh một số quan điểm về việc hình thành một hệ thống pháp luật tài chính vững mạnh có sự tham gia của các nước thành viên ASEAN, và điều đó sẽ giúp cho khối ASEAN trở thành một khối vững mạnh hơn và hội nhập sâu hơn vào nền tài chính toàn cầu. Mời quý vị cùng theo dõi cuộc trao đổi sau đây. So right now in Vietnam, the bond market is not so developed. So from your point of view, when the countries like Vietnam could cooperate better with other members in Asia in terms of financial regulations, how does that impact the bond market?
I mean, that's a very good question and a hard one to answer. It is very important for Asia to develop its bond markets, and Vietnam is part of that, and so Vietnam needs to be part of that development as well. How does Vietnam develop its bond markets? There has to be money available, basically. I was asked this question just recently, and I suppose my thought was the channeling of savings. If you take, say, the country I'm from, New Zealand, we have a sovereign fund in New Zealand. That sovereign fund is run by the private sector in agreement with the government. And part of that sovereign fund money ends up in bond markets. And I think if those sort of compulsory savings, retirement savings, any sort of savings within Vietnam that is under government control, if that was to be opened up to the private sector, with a stipulation that the expectation would be to help develop bond markets here, I think that could be a positive.
So for now, how do global investors look at Asia market, and if we can build a better financial regulatory cooperation between the members, how does that make a difference?
I think one of the problems still within Asia is that global investors see Asia as being segmented. They look for the latest hot market, whether it be Indonesia, Malaysia, wherever.
Yeah.
And so you get funds flowing in and out far too quickly. Again, a more integrated financial system, more stability, so that the global investor views Asia more as a whole, and that money comes in here more for the long term than for the short term, I think would be very positive. The bubbles in markets never do anybody any good in the long run. They might make some people rich in the short term, but they're never good in the long term. So again, the way that financial regulation can help bring about stability in the marketplace is very important. I think.
What seems to be the major lesson that we can learn from the West in terms of building a better cooperation systems of financial regulatory to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes?
In a way, you can look at the EU as being an interesting test case, and it's good that it's gone ahead. We can look at what's happened there, what worked well, what didn't work so well. I've already given you my views on the single currency. So I think that taking a close look at what Europe has been through is very valuable. If you think in terms of regulation of banks, for example, I mean, it's really only now that the EU has realised that they have to have basically a common regulatory process there, and that's come about through their latest crisis. So, the EU's been around a long time, and it's taken them a long time to realise the importance of integrating the regulation of banks. So I think what's the lesson for Asia there? You should probably look at doing that sooner rather than later. So that's one that goes the other way. The regulation of, or a regional regulation of banks should come earlier. As I said earlier, a single currency should come much later.
So to build a better system for the Asia members, should it be a country to take the lead of all of this task?
Oh, that's a very hard question, and I think my answer would have to be, that's not going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to have to be a joint approach. I don't think a country can take the lead. There has to be will within an organisation such as ASEAN. And I think, to me, one of the real success stories of Asia has been ASEAN. And the fact that it's now ASEAN plus 3, maybe or ASEAN plus 6, shows that it worked. We wouldn't have gone to plus 3 or plus 6 if it wasn't working. So, despite the problems, despite the diversity, I suppose the good news is that countries in Asia can work together and shown that they can.
So from your point of view, what is your outlook for the global economy the next 3 to 5 years, and in terms of capital flow from the west to the east?
I would be very positive about Asia. I would remain very positive about Asia. I think we're moving towards a better economic climate. I think a lot of that has been on account of actions which have taken place since the global financial crisis and the European crisis. There's been lessons learned, which is good. Human beings tend to forget these lessons learned fairly quickly, but hopefully that won't be. We won't see a repeat of crises in the near future.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Và những chia sẻ vừa rồi của giáo sư Martin Young đến từ Đại học Massey, New Zealand về chủ đề nâng cao sự hợp tác trong việc cải thiện hệ thống luật pháp tài chính của các nước thành viên ASEAN cũng đã khép lại phần 2 của chương trình Tôi Việt Nam. Quý vị có thể xem lại đoạn phỏng vấn này trên website fbnc.vn hoặc là góp ý cũng như là phản hồi cho chúng tôi vào địa chỉ facebook.com/MC Trần Quốc Khánh. Chúng tôi sẽ còn quay trở lại với những nội dung đáng chú ý khác.